Why were the Native Americans oppressing the Israelis 300 years ago? Why did they have to come over here and genocide them? What were they doing? Why would they do something so stupid? Doesn't everyone on the planet know that you don't do things like that because they kill you every time? And this is a good example for everyone else to follow what not to do. See, most people don't oppress them because they'll keep you alive because they need slaves and sex slaves, especially apparently. So, why would the Native Americans been oppressing them so badly that they had to come all the way over here and get rid of them completely? They don't get rid of most people. They even let the Africans live. They just put them on ships and, taught them how to work. And, only these days they still got them doing, lots of work. I don't know too many people who are Native Americans myself. Well, actually, that's probably a lie. I think everyone tells me they're Native American, which makes me, actually, that makes me think no one is because of all the lies. So, I just assume that's like a trendy thing to do or something, even though I know, like, people who look similar to that. It's weird. I also, met, clones and shapeshifters, too, so kind of, that's weird when you look like someone when you're 40 and you show me pictures of a kid and you look like a different person. Then again, I kind of looked a little bit different. My hair color didn't change from blonde to black, but it wasn't quite that extreme. I just looked like, the facial features of a Catholic Jesus when I was a kid, and it looks different than the Christian Jesus to me. Fucking, you have those alien eyes and shit. But, why would they have been oppressing them so badly that they had to come over here and kill them all off? And, man, they don't do that to anyone. Like, there's no writing on this. I bet you I couldn't find it if I looked for it, because I used to look into history and stuff and never read it. So I definitely never read, you can't really read much of anything. Like, anything I learned that points to what's actually going on got erased pretty fast around 2018. And I guess I was being shown most of my life, long before I understood any of it, that everything was being erased related to this topic. Related to the topic of what's actually going on here on Earth and stuff like that, and who controls and owns everything. It's real simple too. And you would think instead of 8 billion humans spending, I guess there's 5 evil people, so there's 5 evil old people in wheelchairs who are genociding and enslaving the world. So there's, take that out of 8 billion, you have 9,999,999,995 other people on the planet who didn't do nothing. And, they just, just let that happen and, erase their history and just watch it get erased and don't talk about the stuff. I guess the excuse is because it's being deleted. If you kill a person, your side of the story is the only story that exists, right? So that's the only truth there ever will be. So, it makes sense in that way. It's weird. I knew people into, I guess everyone I know is brainwashed into one of their cults of some sort of form, but it's like I know Nazis who never said anything, and I was always like, this makes no sense. Like, but you know, like I actually didn't even judge him like that. I was just like, okay. He's like, well, we just beat out. We went to the gay bar today and beat the shit out of a bunch of people. And I'm like a kid, so I don't understand anything. And I come from a family who like really likes those people. I think they like them more than straight males and shit. At least one of them. Fucking, I date a lot of girls like that. And maybe, I mean, shit. Maybe I shouldn't go pick up girls at the gay bar, right? No, that's a joke. It's the goth bar. But if anything, never picked up a single person at a bar. Anyways, yeah. So, what are they doing? Man, I can't find. I never read anything on that. What they were doing to oppress everyone and shit. Wonder like they're telling me nowadays, you know, everyone's always oppressing them, so they got to kill them off all the time. You know, we know what the Germans did. The Germans were trying to kill them, so they had to kill them. You know, because they were like brown hair, brown eye supremacists like Hitler, and they thought they were better than other people with brown hair and brown eyes. And isn't that how that story goes? Something like that. And you know the Palestinians are. Oh yeah, that's right. The Palestinians are throwing rocks at them because Hitler invaded Palestine. Hitler invaded the Middle East. Helped. He helped the invasion, and I guess that it's probably the start of it, right? That's probably where. And then they're throwing rocks at Hitler and shit when he shows up, probably. Although they tell me that it's odd. In other reports, they say that Hitler was on their side. That's weird. It's like, I'm on your side, and my friend has to, like, he's going to live in your house from now on. Hey, we're good. We're good. It's just, that's originally his house. I told him he could have it. So, actually, he told me he could have it. So, that's that. It's his house. And, yeah, that's just the way it is. You get some evil, crazy people who'll be like, "What? I live here." Like, and the fucking Nazis and shit. Like, those are the real Nazis. People call themselves Nazis or act like Nazis, aren't Nazis at all. Like, yes, you couldn't even be a Nazi if you said you were a Nazi, right? Because I think that's like the first step to being a Nazi is you got to tell people like you're peaceful and a happy person who loves everybody, and because Nazism doesn't work, right? Like, because the TV tells me people don't like it. I don't think I've ever met a person like that, not a man, anyways. I really, I kind of don't trust what females say because I think they're always trying to get something when they're talking to men. So they're liable to just fucking say anything, and I've realized like I should write off, no offense, I love females, but I mean, I understand. I watch men date females, so I know like they don't care about anything. They just want one thing from that person at any cost, say and do anything in order to get it, and get it from as many people as they possibly can. So like I understand that's like a two-way road these days. So I can't write that off. When someone comes up to me and like they're all like ooh, like like you're over the age of 12 or something. Once that happens, you can figure out that like those people are like focused on something else rather than your conversation. So they might not even be lying on purpose, right? They might just be like, yeah, oh, everything. Oh, do you like to smoke crack? Yeah, oh, yeah. Not even listening to the words you're saying. So, I guess it's crazy stuff that get better than drugs and work and watching TV until you hit about 22, I guess. And then it takes a back seat to TV and eating food. And, nothing can ever trump TV or eating food. It's just, we're going, I would say going outside, that's a joke, like walking in the grass. I've never seen people doing that. I had to go to the mountains to find people in the mountains. Like, the parks are usually pretty empty and stuff. Not that I would want to go there. I'm going there because they're empty. So that's not a bad thing, is it? It turns out to be that way. But yeah, like, isn't that like, like an important thing people should discuss? Like, because we don't really need God's chosen race, killing us. Like, you're supposed to act right. So we got to know, it'd be important to know what they were doing and stuff. Were they like throwing tomahawks at them, across the ocean or something? They just fucking level up that tomahawk skill. I could see it, I throw knives and stuff. Like, I'm not that good, but hey, I haven't spent my whole life doing it either. So transfer my other skills over to that. I could probably throw a tomahawk, over to the Middle East from here or something. Especially if I, took time to walk out towards the ocean. I could probably do that, right? Like, no, not even being sarcastic there, but I'd never be sarcastic. Why would I do that? Because shit, that's almost like lying. Like, there's no point to lying, really, unless you're dealing with some Nazis or some shit who don't allow you to tell the truth. And so that's the only reason the only people I've ever had to talk to and lie to is people I don't want to talk to, or Nazis generally. Although, I've learned, like, I guess crackheads are Nazis too, right? Like, they're just Nazis for crack, like crack supremacy and shit like that. Yeah. I never met a person who smoked crack. I bet you it's like everything else. Oh, actually, that's a lie. I bet you it's like everything else. Fucking, it's like the complete opposite of what they say it is. Like, they hate everything and everyone. So, and then they got to control that drug trade. So they got to make up a whole bunch of nonsense to scare people away so they can pass laws when they're the ones selling the crack and using the crack that I've met anyways and stuff. So, yeah, so hey, I don't know. Maybe the native. What were they doing? We should figure it out. That way they don't have their twin brother Satan come kill us, and torture us. It seems to be a lot of people haven't read their Bibles and they don't know how to act right. So, I mean, I don't think the Bible tells me what the Native Americans did. They wrote the original version of that like 6,000 years ago or something like that, right? And then they wrote like the edition for New Lands. They went to 2,000 years ago, and then since then, the new, like, 17,556 versions they've written. I think it's 1,756. I didn't mean 17,000. It's more like 1,756 versions that they've written since then. Each one is pretty much just like they've changed the words. They've removed certain words and stuff, like anything pointing towards them at all. I notice in specific that's a word, it's not necessarily to change the vernacular, but I mean, it's all like flimsy parables anyways. So you just swap out words whenever you want, and it really doesn't change it unless you're like purposely changing it. So other than that, It's been like 2,000 years ago, so obviously, they got rid of the Native Americans 300 years ago. And the only updated versions really are new offshoots they've created. Like they've written the Satanic Bible, which is technically not a continuation, but technically it is. And then they have like the science cult, which is, it's a cult based upon it being geniuses instead of gods, and not being a cult. It's a study. I mean, it's just a study, right? The other stuff is a study as well, but it's just a study. It's just knowledge. It's just what you need to do, and it's about geniuses, not gods and angels. It's about geniuses. It's about being smart and you know. Everyone knows Einstein. He's famous because he made nuclear bombs that he used to kill hundreds of millions of people with, probably. Sure, I mean, that nuclear radiation shit's going to be killing people for thousands of years, and they use nuclear munitions all over. Fucking, they don't have to be in bombs, right? So, yeah, so and then obviously, we know what went wrong there. The Japanese siding with those brown hair, brown eye supremacist, rat-looking people in Germany, and then they weren't supposed to do that apparently, and then supposedly they attacked the people who had just killed off the Native Americans. So, yeah, obviously that's stupid. Why would you do that? That's so stupid. Dude, they just, fucking erased, the largest continent on the planet and replaced the people, and you have, this little hut in the middle of fucking nowhere. No one fucking barely even knows exist and shit. There wasn't any, I don't remember any stories in history. It was always Egypt and Italy. You might remember it as Rome, because for some reason they want to separate the capital of Italy from Italy. The story, things change in certain people's lives. If all of a sudden you tell them that that Romans were Italians, because then you'd be like, damn, everyone I know is Italian. Shit, I thought I hated the Romans. Fuck, every story I've been told me the Romans were fucking scumbags, genocidal terrorists, pieces of shit going around enslaving the fucking world and stuff, and genociding everyone and forcing them to worship them as gods. And damn, all along, everyone I know is a Roman. Shit. No wonder they were all fucking Nazis and shit. Because, damn, no wonder. That really changes things, doesn't it? Fucking, really simple things like that. Yeah, so this is more complex things. Complex things can do a lot more. So we figure out what the Native Americans were doing to provoke people to come over here and genocide them and replace them with a nice, wholesome, New World Order, Christian, satanic, atheist empire full of Italians. Then we can figure out how to act right, how not to do that. I don't know anything about them. There's really nothing written about them. All I know is that when they throw trash on the ground, they cry. So, I got some neighbors from Mexico, and so I don't like to throw trash on the ground around them and stuff. That's really the only thing I know. And they like to throw tomahawks too. So that's why I'm making the assumption maybe they were tossing tomahawks across the ocean at them or something. Um, they say, these one people talk about like people came over here and they found and discovered the place and it was empty and like they created the land here and all this stuff and obviously there's another story that there was people here and they didn't create the land. I've never even seen people create land, to be honest. I haven't seen that happen. So it's probably a good idea, we didn't figure that out because we didn't even know what it was. Maybe it was like the usual, they just, they wanted their own house to live in and didn't want to give it away. But then again, we got to realize they were provoked into coming over here because they're good, wholesome, truthful, honest, peaceful people who never do anything wrong. So they wouldn't offend such such good people if they weren't provoked to, right? So I don't know. Maybe they were throwing rocks. That's what they say the Palestinians were doing when they're over there trying to. Who knows what they're doing, right? Like they're looking for something hidden under the ground, and it looks like they're making their way down to Egypt to get back to their pyramids. To be honest, that's what it looks like. Yeah, that's the only thing they focus on is they want to dig under the ground. They want to find something that's in this temple that got buried thousands of years ago. They don't say it like that, but you just put it together. That's pretty obvious. They have excavation teams. Like, it's not even important finding an old building. So there's something hidden in that they're looking for, like maybe some of their ancient alien weaponry when they crashed on the fucking planet, or bigger chance. I mean, there's a chance they didn't crash, right? There's a chance they just landed and started bringing culture to the world. So their story actually, if you ignore the Santa Claus stuff, the only thing they've ever said in the open is that they make a TV show out of the human race. So they enslave them to make a TV show, which doesn't line up with just how disgustingly sick pedophile, genocider, enslavers are. So I don't think that's it. But what we do is, I don't go around asking cats in the street who a cat is. Although I would trust a cat of all things on the planet. I would trust like a tiger or a cat. Like, Tiger's got nothing to prove, and he's not worried about people throwing tomahawks or rocks at him and stuff. But other than that, I still wouldn't expect the cat to be able to tell me who it is and what it does. So I can tell you what it does though by watching it. So yeah, maybe we should figure that out. Figure out what the Native Americans did to offend God's people, or all of the different gods people. So yeah. Actually, they say that was the rat nest dude, Prince Harry, who came over here and did that. But then again, they do look, that looks like he looks like the statues of the Romans to me. So he's here now, so that so he is, once you come here, you are the new American. That's all it takes. You just walk on the land, and there you are, and you're a brand new person and everything. Just like when you walk into a cult temple, you walk out looking like everyone else in there every time. That's just the way of the world, right? So we should figure that out. Just like we should figure out, 10 or 20 other things that are important, that people have been talking about figuring out for thousands of years, that somehow they never. I don't know. I get the idea things have been figured out, just like people are like, yay, we figured it out, we're done with it, and then they just leave it there, like how every election cycle, they just talk about like the same 6 things, and then they have like 1 or 2 new things, and then 4 years later that 1 or 2 new thing is like completely gone. So I guess we figure it out, and then that's up. Like, we figured it out, and so now we get to go find something new to figure out. Like, we figured out Bigfoot isn't real, and Bigfoot doesn't exist. There's no proof of that, and so we get to move on. We don't waste time dealing with the problem Bigfooters cause, and we don't spend any time focusing on the DNA code that must be programming people to make up delusions and lies in order to sell you books and movies, and get donations to help you help them go hunt Bigfoot in their yacht, because Bigfoot sometimes swims. So it's important that when we know, one of the best things I can think of is, since we've never seen Bigfoot on land, that's a guarantee he's in the ocean. So click that donate button down below. Help me get a yacht, and I'm going to go out on the ocean, and I guarantee you Bigfoot's been there. He might be really good at hiding. He can probably swim a lot deeper than I can too. So, but the important thing is we continue with our adventures, and because life is a learning process. It's all about learning, and then you die and you forget everything, and you just throw your brain in the trash because you want to die, and so you throw it in the trash. And so it's a learning adventure there. Learning about Bigfoot is very important. It's always been an important topic. I don't even understand why people are so obsessed with it, but I used to think the same thing about the pyramids myself. I used to be like, why are these people so obsessed with this stupid pile of sand? And then it turns out to be, hey, that's actually more important than almost anything on the planet. Hell, that literally runs the planet. Fucking. So, Bigfoot's like pretty close to the pyramid people, right? Like, I mean, the pyramid, is the pyramid people. And then the pyramid people are always talking about Bigfoot and selling Bigfoot books, Bigfoot autographs, Bigfoot signed posters. You get your VIP pass to official Bigfoot meeting groups, and you can meet and greet and shake the hands of people who have actually seen Bigfoot before. Because if you're never going to see Bigfoot, then that's as close as you're going to get to seeing Bigfoot, is shaking the hands of someone who says they have seen Bigfoot. So it's just as important as the pyramids. It really is. And just important as figuring out what people are doing wrong, so they don't offend God's chosen people. Over God's chosen race, over and over again. Everyone's always offending God's favorite race, the race that God gives everything, all the money and land and resources and women and men and God has given them 140 different religions, and has given them 240 plus different gods with those 140 different religions. So these things seem like important things. You know, at the end of the day, the Bigfoot thing really is an important topic. But the humans are stuck on this thing where they get stuck on the first step. It's like a child learning to crawl, but it's just like, but it's only got one leg, right? So it's trying to walk, and it needs a crutch or a wheelchair to help it out and stuff. And hey, I'll be that. You know, I'll be there for you. These 5 words I say are true. Those are some lyrics. I don't know if that was actually words. I'll be there for you. Yeah. Hey, look at that. Hey, someone said something honest. That's weird. Like, wow. Now you guys are going to turn off my videos because I'm telling you someone said something honest, and now I'm the liar, huh? So, yep. Let's figure out the Bigfoot thing. Let's figure something out. Let's not just figure out. Let's get to the bottom of things. You know, that way we don't have to worry about it anymore, right? Why is Bigfoot so important? Why are the pyramids so important? You know, why are special people so important? Why are geniuses so important? Why are let's start with these simple things that people have been talking about for thousands of years. The pyramids, why are they so important? What does that sign mean? Who likes those pyramids so much that they got to talk about them 24/7 and spray paint them all over the world and build fucking expensive pyramids these days? They just build a pyramid. Right over here, well, I mean, California, in between here and California, and they just built that pyramid, like, I think in the last 10 years, so damn pyramids are important, right? Like, that takes up a lot of space and a lot of wasted space to design it, and it's not built like how the pyramids were built to withstand the time test of eternity, because it's all like glass and stuff, and one storm will wipe it out completely. But seems important if people are wasting it. Now, obviously it's a casino, so they are money, so they can just burn money for fun and stuff. And they print the money, so money's not even like, money's just literally like, these days it's literally nothing. Fake zeros and ones on the internet, thanks to our new president, digital currency Musk. So yeah, so I guess it's not, like, maybe it's not that big of a topic, since money is free, and it's not too hard to build a fancy new age shiny flashy light pyramid, disco pyramid and stuff these days. But some people think it's it's pretty irrelevant and stuff. There's a lot of people with pyramid stuff. Like, I mean, I just go outside and it's like everywhere. It's like super everywhere. I think that and the eye is out there more than there are other symbols, the cross or the crest. In this nation, there's not too many crescents and stars, but there definitely is in other nations, right? And then there's so many cops. They got the Star of David and the pentagrams on their vehicles. But the pyramid is more out there everywhere. And then the Star of David is just 2 pyramids anyway, so they've just taken their original symbol and put the other one on top of it. So, yeah, probably we could learn a lot from this Bigfoot thing. We really can. No lie. It's the same thing as everything else. Like, really, the only thing that matters about anything is finding out what's its purpose. What does that mean? What are you doing with that? And no one ever gets that. They're always like, oh, these people are invading me. Oh, these people are raping me. And, oh, and like, why are you crying, girl? Like, oh, I got raped 20 years ago. And it's like, well, why did that happen? You know, there's always like a follow-up, but there never is. You know what I'm saying? Like there technically is, but there could be. But there never is much of a follow-up to anything going on this planet. It's just, we're talking about pyramids 6,000 years after they were built, and supposedly they're worthless, nothing pieces of junk that serve no value to the planet. It looks stupid, probably feels stupid if you touch them. They look like they feel stupid. It sounds stupid. The word pyramid sounds pretty stupid. Obviously it looks stupid. It's just like dirt yellow color, like my couch here and shit. Fucking, I mean, that's because it is dirt. So, sounds pretty primitive and everything too. We're not talking about, like, you know, cavemen and woolly mammoths anymore and stuff. We're still talking about that, and we're still talking about Bigfoot, you know, years after most people agree that it's probably a farce and being used to manipulate and deceive people. But there's still the question, like, why? Why does it continue? You know what I'm saying? Like, that, you know, I don't even know how many people like that actually exist. I knew when I was a kid, I would see other people. Like, I would hear, you know, like I'd go somewhere, like when I was a kid, I don't know if everyone did this, but a lot of people's houses I go to, you know, it was like Friday afternoon or night or Saturday, they'd have a bunch of people at their house. And so sometimes I'd hear people saying stuff, you know, like, there's a googly woogly Woomba monsters running around the neighborhood chasing and killing all the cats, and I see him all the time. He's like 90 foot tall, and he's got this one horn sticking out his chin. And I've heard that. I've heard people talk like that, like once or twice. And that's not very much. And you know, in all honesty, like, I'm not talking to these people, so I'm like hearing the conversation, you know, over here in a different conversation. And I can't even be sure I was like really hearing that, but that's kind of hard for me to be like, oh, I didn't just actually hear that, because that doesn't happen to me. So I kind of go with it. But I'd only seen this like once or twice in my life. In fact, I can only like slightly remember it once. And then there was actually one time where someone had sold some kid some pencil shavings, and he told him it was weed. And then the dude comes back saying he's hallucinating and it's the best weed ever, and he wants to buy more of it. And like, so that's pretty credible for a Bigfoot story, right? Like, that's proof that there's people who are going to talk about Bigfoot, make lies just to make lies, or to be cool, to have a friend. Like, I'm pretty sure that dude was like just trying to be our friend. Like, he wanted to be cool. Like, I guess people thought we were cool or something. I don't understand stuff like that. Um, fuck. And so, yeah, that's the only thing I could think of, like why he would make up that story that he smoked pencil shavings and hallucinated. So, I mean, I don't think that dude was being all hostile, but I think a lot of these people talking about stuff like this can have hostility. But then again, at the very bottom baseline of that, that's going to be like a personality trait. Like I wouldn't ever date a girl. I wouldn't ever talk to a person. I don't remember. Like I would talk to that dude because I was at school, but I would never go like hang out with anyone who said anything like that. Right, like, so if he's doing that to, like, hang out with us, like, I was already, like, friendly with him, like, we could have hung out, but that probably, like, killed his entire chance of ever being able to hang out with us. He was a little overweight. He wouldn't have been able to run. We literally would run across the frickin' city, so we were pretty active people, and bikes or running, or I did most of the running or walking. Everyone else, if we went across the city, had bikes and stuff. But I had to walk home from the other side of the city a lot from school and stuff. So that was in the middle of the city. I never walked from the other side. That was when I quit school because I'm not gonna. I wouldn't even get back to school if I had to walk back from school and stuff. So, yeah. So, I think we can learn a lot from stuff like that. I think, I think we should probably look into that. And maybe those stories have something to do with maybe what we can learn from these ancient stories of pyramids and Bigfoot have something to do with what the Native Americans did so badly to piss off these people and make them come over here and get rid of them and build their fancy casino pyramids over here. And all these hospitals selling drugs with their fucking New World Order symbols all over them. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. That's all I can do is sit around and say dumb stuff because apparently they must think I'm a Native American because how they treat me and shit. So, I got some assumptions what might have happened there that made them come over here and rape their women and kill off their men and things like that. I got some assumptions, but I'm not. You know, it's like literally I'm like basing things I've never seen on what happens in my life to me on this land today. And I might be making some assumptions, you know, like maybe what they're doing to me today is what they were doing to them 300 years ago or something. But you know, I want to know, like, what did I do wrong? I know what I did to fucking smack the hornet's nest. And that's definitely like, I'm fucking retarded. I don't know. I'm literally smacking the fucking hornet's nest, like, fucking repeatedly and shit. Like, I know what I'm doing when I'm smacking the fucking hornet's nest. Like, duh. I'm getting the hornets out of their little fucking, their pyramid color hive and shit. Fucking, I wanna get some honey. I wanna study bees. I want to see what bees are up to, why they got these stingers and they're hoarding all that golden honey and stuff, and how they you know, actually, you know, don't really care and just kind of force, you know, because the bees are running around fucking stinging everyone and shit. So I just figure if they're gonna smack me, why not just smack their hive repeatedly and stuff. Maybe that's what the Native Americans did, is one or two would like float, you know, a dog paddle across the ocean over to Israel. They weren't in Israel at that time, were they? They were probably in Rome. Oh, that's right. They were in UK. They were in the UK Empire, like old Beehive head Harry is today. Although he's left UK to come over here, like his ancestors did, right? So. Wouldn't that be great? Someday they could generate a human who actually like does something too, and we could have two of us on this planet, like solving the problem as to what's going on. Anything, the Bigfoot story. I can tell you, we can learn that. We could change the entire world if we figure out this Bigfoot stuff. We really can. If imagine like, worst possible scenario, we find out that there's billions of people on the planet who just go around lying and manipulating people all the time, 24 frickin' 7, and willing to say and do absolutely anything. Less hostile of an answer of a worst possible outcome is we could figure out that people are making up stuff to manipulate people into being their slaves and servants and doing things for them that they want. See, there's a lot of things there with manipulation. I'll save this for the other video about how good people, how fantasy, like all these movies I watch are like some fictional reality and stuff of what good people are. And bad people, wear black all the time, and they burn swastikas in their forehead, and so it's real easy to spot bad people, and it's real easy to spot good people because they go around wearing white clothing, and they look rich and nice, but they say hi. Good people do that. Good people say they love you and things like that. But shit, bro. Like, supposedly humans have been here for thousands of years, and we still haven't figured out the pyramids, and we haven't figured out Bigfoot. And it's like, we're not figuring anything out here. We got stupid computers. The pyramid people don't really want you to use. Stupid computers controlled by the pyramid people and shit. And because like the pyramid people, everyone else is their servant, so you don't get to build computers and make computer chips and stuff like that. Like Taiwan, like China wants Asians to like work with them, and of course Asians are supposed to be part of the pyramid community, and because they make chips and stuff, probably because the pollution is so bad that they don't want to bring those corporations over here and stink up their own place, and they'd rather have all those toxins being released in China than America. Probably the only reason they put those things over there. But that's another discussion too. But we should get to the bottom of this Bigfoot thing. It's real important there. I always wondered when I was little, after hearing that once or twice, I wondered if there was really other people like that. And I think it turns out to be like I was surrounded by them sometimes. Not necessarily surrounded, but there are times when like you're forced to be around other people, like when you're a toddler. Like literally, I don't even remember being a toddler. So whatever was happening in my life, I was being forced to do. I don't think I could even move. Like, supposedly when I'm born, I'm just like, I can't even move. Like, my legs and arms might be like, but I don't even remember doing that. So I doubt I was like, hey, I'm moving my arms, check out, I'm so cool, I'm going to be cool, I'm waving my arms, bro. I'm moving my leg. Check that out, bro. I really doubt, like, I was having those thought processes, because I don't have any memories. I really doubt I was actually in that shell during those ages. But who knows? With all the drugging that goes on from society, forcing children on methamphetamines and shit, and tons of other shit. Starting with who knows what they poison babies with the day they're born at the Pyramid Palace. Fucking yeah. Really, I should always default to that because these are patterns, and this is what happens. Like, do most of their drugs fry me? No, but do some of them? Yeah. And so I might want to assume some stuff about that. I mean, shit, bro. How many drugs do I have in my life? My whole life. Like, I'm sure this wasn't new when I was a toddler. Like, I'm always like, they started drugging me when I was 8. But it's like, bro, they're giving children drugs when they're born. Probably trying to fry them and stuff. You'll notice that there's a certain group out there that is against these people. That make sure they have home births and stuff like that and avoids their tech. And it's odd. And those people like in the inner city are controlled by them. Like their organization is controlled by them, but their book technically people think is against them and stuff. So I found that odd. It's like, how did they know the devil controls technology like before it was invented and stuff? Like, dude, I wonder if any of those people like actually know the name of the devil that we can't say and stuff. I've never met anyone who used that word. Even people who are deep in the anti-cults, anti-organizations. They never like said anything. They never even used that word and stuff. That's weird for people who go around town beating people up to never use like their key word, their magic to do all list. That whole learning experience was weird, but it's weird it unfolds the way it does too. I can't even say it was weird. It's just like my life seems like a rail-based game and stuff. I'm forced to be around evil people, and then I'm forced to learn about them and what they're up to and shit. So it's like, yeah, I'm not sure if they're actually in control, if they're the ones, like it's hard to even like imagine, after people trying to kill me so many times and the government being involved last time and stuff. It's hard for me to imagine that they could possibly be meeting in a boardroom with the mayor and discussing me. Yet the first day I meet the governor, he's like running away from me, including his security team. Like they got debriefed on me or something. Fucking, that was some weird shit. Something told those people's brains to be scared that day. The security, like, these are people being paid to like kill people if they touch this person and stuff, and they're like looking like just fear has consumed them and stuff. And I'm probably like, when I'm protesting, I'm out there like smiling and laughing generally, like so it's not like I'm like looking at them like they're evil. Hell, I was even ignoring like the simple fact that I'm there because these people are killing the people that they're for the funeral for. Someone asked me, what the hell am I doing there? And I totally skipped my mind. It's like, okay, he's dead because of them. That's why I'm here. I wasn't even thinking of that. That was all happy and excited. And that weird bot stuff happened. It's almost like they must be having, how else do they do it if they're not bots? They would be having meetings in their pyramids somewhere or something, right? It's one of the two. maybe they're actors playing a show who can teleport across the map, and I can magically request new versions of them, and then they appear. Obviously, shape-shifting explains that, right? The teleportation explains away a lot of stuff. But it doesn't explain the frequency, the high rate of how that happens. Unless there's just a hell of a lot of... I mean, is there a hell of a lot of people in Grand Theft Auto? Does that just take a massive amount of resources to create, or is it just really simple and easy? And I'm making it overly complex by running around and wondering how the hell this is happening and stuff. We're definitely somewhere near that. Near what these things will expose. I kind of get the idea that some of those people making up those Bigfoot stories might not be people sometimes, but could be wrong. I mean, we know on the internet it's like that, but before the internet there was magazines at stores, and then the magazines were like all over the store. If you're not old enough to remember that, you go to the checkout lane and there'd be stories. Tom Cruise has a baby with a dog, and then Bigfoot is coming, and then the Pope got a new diamond ring, which, they got to put a true story in there to lend credibility to the rest of this stuff, because they're not pushing it off as fake. You can see, like, what's the purpose of it? Like, are there people like trying to see how far they can push things and manipulate people to enslave them? Because that does seem to be a purpose. Like the world's most popular topics and activities that the majority of the world participates in are frauds. Like, I guess today. Oh shit, that sucks. I know what today is. Today's is Giant Bunny Day. I think it's today. Could be. It's a Sunday, and I knew it was sometime around this time. So, there's like a giant bunny. So what's the point of the giant bunny story? Now, we know that's to manipulate and deceive children. And then the purpose is to discipline the children. So you discipline the children by being a person with no discipline and no morals and no values. So I guess we're trying to discipline the child into learning to lie and deceive, and in fact kill and maim people who don't go along with your deception. That seems to be the moral of the story of today that I can get from association with the giant bunny stuff anyways. Now, why is the giant bunny stuff associated with the pyramid people stuff, right? Why is it directly, why do the pyramid people go around with a giant bunny badge on them and stuff? No, actually, and it's not Giant Bunny Day that has the moral story. It's the Flying Fat Person Day that has the moral that you better behave or you're going to get thrown in hot, or we're going to throw you in hot coals and burn your ass. Giant Bunny Day is all about Giant Bunny Day. The only thing that even exists to is, well, the pagans supposedly had rituals like that, and then, which I think pagan meant every race on the planet who aren't pyramid people, but in reality, the word seems to be used to as a replacement for people in the northern hemisphere, which would be Europeans and Russians. And I don't think Asians do any of that stuff. They don't they seem to have laws in place against bunny and Bigfoot type stuff. Maybe not quite. It's hard to tell in America because they tell me everyone else is pure trash and they're gold. They're solid gold. So I must write off anything they say is fictional until I see it. Like, you don't know how great Mexico is till you go there. And I shouldn't say that because I don't want Americans going down there and fucking the place up. And then it won't be great anymore. They were the people there causing the problems. 3 out of 4. Yeah, that's pretty bad for considering they were 1 out of 10,000, 1 out of every 100,000 people there. That's pretty. That's the type of math that you might as well just smoke a crack rock instead of betting against. Crack only costs $5, 2 for $7, and whatever you're gonna bet on that math, you're gonna lose if you're betting against odds like that. So that's odd. Those odds turn out to be winning numbers, and then when we're talking about people causing problems. So, anyways, yeah. So I didn't realize, like, I myself was kind of convinced I'd go down there and there'd be like gang shootouts and the cartels running around, headbutting me with rifles and be like, "Get out of here, you dumb cracker!" And it didn't happen quite like that. I had like one street thug say some stuff to me, and I just couldn't stop laughing at him because he sounded like me talking to other people. I couldn't stop laughing at him. But oh yeah, and then mostly their people were involved in causing problems. It just IDF happened to show up at the hostel where someone caused me problems, and so that's where the Israeli military shows up to the place I'm staying at. Right, this isn't the first time I've met these people. You can see my videos in 2020. They showed up to a protest outside, all the way over here in America. I guess all the way over there in Mexico too. But yeah, I'd say these things would solve all of Earth's problems if we get to the bottom of the Bigfoot story. Whatever it is, there's obviously at least a small percentage of humans who can go around lying and manipulating, just lying about everything to deceive and manipulate people. But man, that small percentage of people go around like they, at this time of year and a few other times a year, they go around the stores every morning apparently and clearing the shelves off and putting Bigfoot memorabilia on the shelves. Every day they do that. And I guess even if the people who work at the stores remove all that stuff, they're like, damn, should we call the cops or just take the stuff off the shelves and put it back on? Apparently, and they're going to come back and put it back on after when we go on lunch break, so they probably don't take it off the shelf. Apparently, there's 5 old people in wheelchairs who go around the world putting these Bigfoot memorabilia on the shelves this time of year, bro. Like I said, they got those wheels of magic. George Soros, he's got these wheelchair wheels. He spins real fast, and it breaks a time-space barrier, and he just phases in and out everywhere, apparently. So this must be how he does it, because everyone's telling me like that's how he's doing everything else. So, apparently, like if we figure this out, we can solve these problems, right? I guarantee you, it'll solve like all the world's problems to figure out the Bigfoot dilemma. You just, right? It's possible I've already got that figured out, right? But obviously, like no one else has, because no one ever got the word to me. I've met a couple people who said things, although one definitely sounded weird. about it, kind of like he was, well, kind of like he believed in it, just he was saying he doesn't to manipulate me. Like, it's a weird way to respond to some of these things, and that actually stood out. So there's like four people I know, and you know what? I just named the one, and then the other person they had to include because you don't, because I know you don't like those type of things, and to their spiel about giant bunnies. And so, shit, that kind of narrows it down to two because like that, it's almost like a person telling you like, well, I do believe in giant bunnies, but I know you don't, so I'll be the first person to ever have any respect for you. Um, at least for now, until I get you tied down enough to secure you in the place. See, the Bigfoot problem answer would solve lots of these other problems too, because we would be identifying a DNA code, personality types. Basically, you know what? Obviously, George Soros isn't the one going across seas and killing people. George Soros isn't any of the people who raped their way into my life. Now, they might look like George Soros, but it's not been. And I work, with these fuckers. So, like, I'm surprised I don't actually know George Soros. My dad probably did. I wouldn't tell. He might not have known who he was, but there's a huge chance he's met him. Considering the people he said he worked for, and there's no reason not to believe that because they run this fucking city, and we go collect money for him. And the people I worked for with him didn't look too much different, so there's no reason to ever think he was lying. Everyone always thought he was lying. He's literally like running businesses, and I think people are just so fucking jealous of him and shit that they were doing the Bigfoot thing in a different weird way. Their ability to lie, deceive, and manipulate. They would use that to attack other people who they were jealous of. They had $5 more, and then like hell, I think some people you don't have to have $5 more than them. They could have $20 million, and if you have $5, they still want your $5. I think there's a personality trait like that. That's close to a definite. I'm pretty sure we can go on that. So there's, like, if you're homeless, like other homeless people will be begging for money from you and shit. Like you're homeless and got nothing, and they'll be like, give me what you got. And so you don't have to be a beggar to be like that. Well, you do. I think you do, actually. Like, to beg, you have to be a beggar. But, homeless and beggars, different things. But yeah, so I noticed that, like, when I wanted to escape from society, other people were asking me for shit when I live outside and stuff. And anyways, so the manipulation thing, yeah, it is a great day to evolve into that conversation, huh? Great, it's the best day. The manipulation thing. I think we could solve a lot of the world's problem with this. The Google people are really scared of those AI glasses where you can identify someone with your glasses. Like, that's why they haven't put that out yet, and they own the tech, and they're fucking space demons who have had advanced tech for thousands of years. There's a reason they're keeping the tech away from you. for thousands of years, yet alone keeping the glasses away from you today. Well, the glasses, one of the things they changed on Google was identify, there was a browser extension where you could identify the pyramid people, like the name George Soros would appear in triple parentheses. Not parentheses, but shit, whatever the C and backwards C thing is that you put. I can't think of that right now. Anyways, but it would like highlight them, right? So there was actually a browser extension for that, for highlighting their name, and pretty much every news article you read, they were involved in, because they own and run everything, right? So it was like, wow, I'm so surprised, right? Like, I wasn't surprised at all that every news article I read had at least one highlight in it. So they got rid of that, right? And that would have been the perfect combination to add to and there was an ability to block websites. So if I got tired of watching NBC News, or going to Google, going to YouTube, going to anywhere, going to one of their fake scam Bigfoot sites that they put at the top of their searches, or going to some website with some rapist fucking enslaver running it, who I know I know like who runs it, and I know what they've been up to and shit, and I don't want them to talk to me and come around me like in real life. Like, their race has been forcing their way into my life since I was born, starting with the very second I was born. They have their little pedo mutilation fucking ritual for their racial supremacy organization. Yeah, so like, I can't even delete those fuckers like out of my fucking personal life. I can't delete their vagina off my dick. Apparently, I don't have the choice to do that in my life. I can delete the number out the phone book, but a new one appears. If I move, I would have to move away, I think, and then delete the number, and then a new one appears. So they made it so on here that you couldn't do that. They removed those extensions. They made it so they weren't allowed, because it identifies the owners of Google and shit. So I could use that browser extension, and I could use the one to identify their names, and I would end up like blocking every website, but who cares? Like, that's great. Then I get to look at a blank fucking screen and not read any of their bullshit or remember any of their bullshit ever. Except for the 24 fucking, 40 years of fucking memories I have. Which are always in the way, even if I could clear this trash off my fucking internet. Or life, which I've done pretty good. It's been a battle. It's been a 24/7 battle. I didn't even know I was fighting against. Fucking until I was like 35. I was slowly being educated on them. But, didn't know that till I was 35, what it was. I just knew not to be around it. I didn't know there was a name for it, and a code for it. I didn't know there was a script written operating them to make certain people act that way, so I avoid that look. Yeah, and I'm sure we're gonna get to the bottom of the Bigfoot story, right? Maybe I should be positive, like I was in 2020, about the possible the needed outcome that needs to fucking happen and stuff. Maybe I should just go straight the fuck to the final solution and say we need to ban fuckers who make up delusions and talk about them. I think I did that. That's like, okay, so that's part of my step to building the world's first civilization, is not allowing people like that into the nation at all. And anyone who tries to bring one in gets to leave with them. So I think that's, I mean, this should be the first time humans ever evolved if they could do this. I don't think I've ever seen them do anything. Someone's given them technology. But just because I've got a razor blade and a vape pen in my hand doesn't mean I'm evolved, does it? I don't think that anyone who thinks that means I'm evolved knows what the definition of evolution is. But yeah, it's pretty important. Like, to me it is. I don't know. I guess I know a lot of people who would lose everything and would have never had a single friend if you don't allow people like that around you. And they seem, and I've noticed social parasites, the people who need people around them for some sort of purpose. Well, I assume some of them just have them just because they want to gab all day about Bigfoot and shit. That could be one reason why people are inventing Bigfoot stories, is so they can have something to talk about, so they can talk. I have no idea what the fuck goes on in some of these human minds, but I can tell you that that is going on in some of their minds. Like, that's an obvious thing. And that's like really, that's like, okay, so when I put on white clothes, I become a good person too. So when I lie and deceive, I'm a good person. I'm better than a murderer. While I take people's lives from them, I'm better than a murderer because I do it. And I'm good at lying and deceiving, so I can tell you that that's better than killing people quickly, wasting their time in life, burning, sucking their blood from them is nowhere near the equivalence of murder, is it? And I get the idea that, you know, we can either go after the problem, or we can go after everything that the problem is, piece by piece, and take it apart that way. So obviously there's not many people going after the problem. Most people are on board with the problem. At least that I know. That could be because I'm a targeted individual. I mean, explain to me, like, well, I have the same people in my life over and over, other than I'm creating 1% of the population. And then again, like, the first thing that clones or shapeshifters or whatever they are did last time I talked to one of them, was talk to me about their parents, and I was like, wait a minute, who's your daddy? So it's like, oh shit, this motherfucker's lying, but is this worse than the other lies and deceptions from everyone else? Just standard code that everything's a lie. Fucking, I think these things really are important. These are personality types who come up with this Bigfoot and Santa Claus and Easter Bunny shit. These are parasites who thrive upon emotional bondage, enslavement of people, and their people have colonized, the main players here have colonized the entire planet with stories of delusion and grandeur. uh, that their race is the supreme race on earth, their bloodline. Because back then the word race didn't exist, because there's only like so many people on the planet when they first began this stuff. So, I don't think anyone probably even argued that the pyramid people shouldn't be up there colonizing Italy and Rome. They probably were just like, yeah, this is where I live. Thanks for coming by. See you later. It's later than later, better than sooner. Suppose that was like a standard thing. Maybe that's what the Native Americans did, was they just, they came to vacation here, and they were like, yeah, this is my home, get away from my teepee. And then they were like, no, we're friends now. I want to live in your teepee with you. I want to be your wife and your husband at the same time. Me and Bill over here want to be your husband. What is your name again? Sacagawea. You're a cute boy. Me and Bill want to live with you. Probably. I mean, technically, isn't that the old story? Isn't that all the old stories of how the world was until America until America invented Hollywood, and then Hollywood like pushed those stories that everyone on the planet is going around invading and killing everyone, and it's winner takes all, and America is the first nation who did that and then chose to stop doing it. So the first time in history we have a nation who used to go around invading and going to war with and enslaving the planet and making up Bigfoot stories, and then they changed it. They had a wake-up call in the 1910s, 1920s, when Hollywood was invented. It must have been after Marilyn Monroe came, because obviously she was like, that was sold on her panties being shown to people and her tits. And a lot of makeup and plastic. I don't know how much plastic surgery they did back then, but I know they did a little. So it must have been right after that they decided to have this heartfelt change and stuff in their curriculum. Because they still tell you the first half of the story, right? And they were evil, but then you got your brown eye supremacist Hitler, who he was really evil. He just decided to, I guess, kill people in the land he lived in, and then he was taking over. He was going over to other cities, and I guess he genocided all the Europeans, all the native Europeans, and replaced them with Germans. According to the story, that's what happened, right? So, and I guess he was, since he was working with the Japanese, maybe he was actually Asian, and the reason why he would have been genociding the Europeans would have been to replace them with Asian people. See, isn't that weird? Because no one ever talks about any of this. We've never discussed that. That's only, I never even thought of that. That makes so much sense. Why would Hitler go around genociding Europeans in wars? And he's working with the Asians, ain't he? So, obviously today, Japan is, we nuke them, and so they're our lapdog. And we probably, after you kill people, someone has to go live on that land, because the people who are dead are dead. So there's no people to live on that land. So if there's people there, someone must have came there, because dead people can't reproduce. So when you drop nukes on people, they're gone. People aren't, they're not gonna, there's not like a flower that grows that's gonna replace them. There's not, as far as I know, there's no like fruit trees or vegetable trees or, like a human tree or something. I've never heard of it. I don't quite think that that could happen. But someone's there today. Someone's there today. Huh. Maybe maybe that was Hitler's secret. Maybe he was doing it for the Germans. Oh, he was. Oh no! Wait a minute. That would have meant he would have been working with Americans, and Americans would be racist Nazis who went around bombing the planet and invading people and erasing natives. And Americans obviously would never have done that any time after around 1930 because they had stopped doing that. So, yeah. Yeah, and again, I think all this boils back down to I think Bigfoot is the answer here, because the answer to the Bigfoot story stuff is really why is someone lying to you and making up nonsense? Why are they trying to manipulate you? Why shit, in my head, I have this thing like, why do people who lie and manipulate and deceive think they have a right to speak in public? Or to anyone, because I wouldn't want them at home with a man, a wife, or a husband, because those people are going to be at home raping and beating the shit out of their fucking wife and husband, because that's what manipulators do. Like, they have shit, and some of them might not, but I guarantee you it goes hand in hand 90% of the time, because trashy genetics will accompany trashy genetics often. There's purpose to lying and deceiving, to build a caricature, to build yourself as a liar, as a person who can lie and deceive. It's not based upon giant bunnies and shit, usually. That's like once a year. You don't have much practice with that. And to do something good, you got to practice that a lot. And some people are really good. Like, they talk about this stuff just, so it's the greatest thing on the earth. They are fully convinced that their lies and deceptions are real. And so they've learned somewhere else in life, when they're lying and deceiving, how to do that so well. They've learned somewhere since a child that it is okay to lie and deceive as long as there's a reason, not a good reason, but just any reason to lie and deceive. So, this is a personality type. Bigfoot is a personality type. It's a personality, what do they call that with their little biblical drug cult psychology that those drug cartel that world's largest drug cartel runs? What do they call that? Damn, I can't think of the word right now. But getting to the bottom of Bigfoot will solve, I wouldn't say all the world's problems, but I would say probably like 700 million plus problems on the planet. And it would easily solve the 10 biggest problems in the world. When people claim to be your girlfriend or your friend, your boyfriend, and they're lying to you, to rape you, to get into your life and have children with you, to kill you, to suck your blood, to turn you into a servant for them. That's just one thing. I'm sure a lot of people have a problem with that. I can't be the only person. They read an entire Bible about raping and killing, loving people as a means of warfare. becoming their husband and wife to kill them and their nation off and take it over for your race. They've run it. This is their fucking manual. They beat it into their children. They chop their children's wieners off to that way. Every time you look at yourself, you know I am a slave to Nazi doctrine. Fucking the Nazis are my masters. You just look at your dick every time because they're pedophiles. They do that. They're allowed to do that in this nation. In that, and we could get rid of these people if we just start being honest, which apparently there's not a lot of people like that. This must be I've read some things saying different nations aren't like America, and that is true. I did go to some other nation. One of the nations I studied, it definitely was people who look like the people here down there causing problems for the most part, and I didn't experience the general thing. I always say one person. There was two people. There was like a scam business set up too, but considering there's so many people and the frequency of America versus that, it's just like, you know, the numbers game. Like unless you're a gambler, which is just a person who loves to lose money and doesn't care about it, just loves to gamble, wouldn't bet on odds like that because you would lose every time. And then you wouldn't be able to bet anymore because you wouldn't have anything left to bet. So, I say that this is a big problem. Like, I've spent my whole life trying to weed this out of my life in general. Because it's just so frequent. Like, I can go outside, especially today, like the whole last month. Like, they come out in the open for months at a time and run their charades. Obviously, it's not 5 old men in a wheelchair. It's fucking... There's 340 people in America, so it's probably about 331 million people who have trained themselves some aspect of life to be able to lie and manipulate and deceive. And they do that in the open. And it's very similar to the COVID thing, if you think about it. So when COVID happened, when the frontal cortex virus shut people down, then most of them had taken out their swastika and wrapped it over their face. And most of these people were people telling us that they don't like the swastika their entire life. I wouldn't say most, because I think every man I've ever met is definitely on board with the swastika in the pocket. So I could always tell that. I mean, some were, one was open, so one was very open about it. Like that person, like, I don't even be like, huh, did they ever manipulate me other than talking to my girlfriend and my girlfriend telling me about it? It's like the only person I never be like, did that person ever manipulate me? Like, they got drunk and talked to my girlfriend. Like, that's like a standard. Apparently every guy they send into my life tries to take my girlfriend from me. And then is scared I'm gonna take theirs. Fucking. And then anyways, that story's over. So yeah, that's how a lot of people to participate in some open shit like that. But what I've learned is that the people I know who do that are definitely leaning towards being that way as a whole personality type. And it takes a lot. Like when I work on shit, I do that. You know, I work on it. I work on my dialogue with people so I can get it right and shit. I don't have a lot of interaction, so I gotta be able to get it right the one time I do want it to happen. And so I work on that myself and shit. And I have to train myself to do that properly and stuff. It's not, I don't just wake up, after 13 years of talking about Santa Claus once a year and the Easter Bunny once a year and be able to be like, hey, Bigfoot's real, bro. I met him the other day and he said, you gotta give me, he said, if you give your money to me, he has chosen me to give money to, and so I can help build his world for him because it's his world, and it takes some time for me to be able to say stuff like that with a straight face and not laugh at someone and call them an idiot. At least that's and I suppose they're doing the same thing too, right? You gotta realize most of this is about preying on children too. And that's like, that's some low level predator shit. That's some, I can't do anything in this world, so I'm going to prey on children. Like, it's where that comes from. I suppose most people, well, I don't suppose, I know most people I know, their children are just accidents. So whatever they're doing, they're just doing it, and there's a child in the way of their life now. And that child might just end up right in their walking path, and, well, just kick that thing out of the way. But we do know that some people actually are breeding to create slaves. They want, like, everyone's favorite family that everyone worships as gods, the Rothschilds, own most of the planet. They're people on the entire planet. There might be a few places they don't own, but I haven't seen them yet. Even Mexico has a president with one of their last names now. And like I said, in Mexico, no one was like worried. No one was concerned that the Israel Defense Forces were staying there. And but there weren't a lot of them. But we know, obviously, they worship that in a lot of places. So yeah, I think solving these problems would solve the world. But you know what? I get the idea that all these people I meet who are liars and deceivers, there's a reason why they don't want to solve any problems. And maybe that's because it comes back to them being the problem. And I bet you it does. Again, my life is a little more unique. I'm pretty sure I'm forced to interact. I know I'm literally like forced to interact with people, but on a higher level, I'm pretty sure I'm like here to study them, and being forced to let them force me to have sex with and be friends with and talk to them, and them try to force me to worship their race as gods and shit like that. I'm pretty sure there's legit reason for why I understand all this shit, and I get forced around it, but I see other people, obviously. You can just look at Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme, etc., etc., etc. A lot of them apparently have the same thing. Kanye West, his wife, his ex-wife, his child's. Like, obviously, they've been targeted by these people too. They use their Bible story of Esther as a way to genocide and enslave the planet and erase everyone else from existence. So, I'm not the only one. I know that much in that case. And these people are lying about who they are and what they're up to. And now they're talking in the open. Obviously, they got the Bible in the open, and people are just ignoring that there's a genocidal and slavery Nazi manuscript. And they're like, oh, well, maybe it's better or something. Or, You know, it sounds good, and they always follow it up like, well, they killed these evil people killed Jeff. They were targeting Jeffrey Epstein, and we had to stop him because they were going to kill him. So we got rid of him. And you're like, oh, that's great. Since they own all the media, like, you don't ever get to hear about the dead person's side of the story. Plus, the dead person's dead. They're not going to tell you any stories. So, and the living people, apparently the rich people are totally sold to frig out, and they don't mind that they just had sex with these people and destroyed their entire family, and now they help create soldiers for the old world order. I don't know what's in humans' brains, but I can tell you, if I find out that stuff and I already had a kid with one of them, it would change the fact that ill will and bad intent just created a child who is a murderer and deceiver and a product of rape and genocide. I don't let my feelings control my brain with be positive thoughts. If someone rapes me and I have a child, then that child is the rapist. Especially if it's a mosquito. Like, if a mosquito rapes a bear, the bear's going to start sucking blood, because that's what a DNA does. They literally have a racial manuscript out in the open telling you what they do. And it's like a science book, except for there's no science in it, except for it explaining to you what's in their fucking heads and how they act. Anyways, yeah, so, there we go. And that's odd. We live in a world that's supposedly thousands of years old, and no one's ever discussed stopping people from being manipulative and deceptive and creating delusions. And it's mostly men I know who are the couple people who have said, we don't actually believe in that. I did have one female. She said, I know you don't believe in the Easter Bunny. And she said that like she's trying to be like, hey, because you're a crazy person and shit, because you're fucking a weirdo, you don't believe in the Easter Bunny. Fucking it's some weird shit. She worded shit weird several times like that. What are you doing? Why would you word that like that? And emphasize the specific code words. But anyways, yeah, I think it could be that some of these people are just simps trying to have sex with anyone they can find, which I can understand that, but don't let them control your life. So just you can